for the end game, in my opinion, rather than going tech kind of in the really late game when holding expansions are very vital and crucial, and minerals become very vital and crucial as well. Just so much faster too. And fungal growth going down, everything popping. Not going to be able to kite as Terran Sue. Wow, fungal growth is going down everywhere. That whole contingent is wiped out. Looking at the army tab, it still seems that as if MorroW is able to keep up and keep its production up as well. But if you look at the units lost in terms of resources, MorroW is definitely behind right now. So, and DIMAGA is already taking his 4th expo, kind of just building a whole bunch of everything, a combination of everything in the middle. 69 lings on the map, and he's going to have a whole bunch more banelings. Looks like it's going to be 33 banelings. So a single infestor up in the air. Only 4 tanks for MorroW. MorroW now playing a slightly more defensive position, trying to hold down the middle, does not want to lose this expansion. DIMAGA does see that it's there, unfortunately, and has built a planetary fortress here, building another command center, which he might be taking to this expansion. It's going to be even harder for him to hold at this point, considering how much creep is on the map and how well spread out DIMAGA is. DIMAGA's force is significantly faster right now, and I think MorroW, some Terran players like to offer the MM ball because of the speed that it offers. Once you go tech, you are a slow, lumbering, army right there. And coming down, sniping out the tanks. Great job by DIMAGA right now. Not too worried about these stimmed Marines who just can't keep up with the Mutalisks at this point. Another command center going down. Is this command center going to be lifted off, or is it just going to be built into another planetary fortress? I actually think it's the former, largely because, and look at this, MorroW now planting down the missile turrets. I at this point, I feel like a Viking or two. And of course I'm not a pro level player at all, so my recommendations don't mean jack squat, but would love to see maybe 1 or 2 Vikings who can actually chase these Mutalisks in the air a little bit, because these missile turrets just aren't doing it. They haven't been doing it for Terran players in previous games, and missile turrets are great to hold off maybe 3 or 4 of the Mutalisks, but when you start bunching them in groups like this, they can kite in and take shots, then retreat, heal, come back, and do even more damage. So looking at the army tab right now, 187 over 171. Looks like both players are massing up towards, just trying to establish their late game economy, and going to be making one big push right now. All the units for DIMAGA are just kind of centered and using the Mutalisks to kind of do as much harassment as possible. Is able to take out a few units, and I think that's where I'm going to give the advantage right now to DIMAGA, because MorroW really is playing defensively and is forced to build just like missile turret after missile turret. Look at this, 2 missile turrets right there. We're only able to take out just a small, like 1 or 2 at most, although most of the Mutalisks are down in power significantly. But it looks like DIMAGA might even have Mutalisks to rotate in and out, and these Mutalisks are just causing far too much damage. Thor's finally arriving in the air and able to pop them, which is great. But now DIMAGA maybe overextending himself a little bit, starting to lose that critical mass, and MorroW forced to just throw down missile turret after missile turret. So MorroW is maxed out at this point. Now throwing down more Raxes. Is going to try, wants to replenish that army once he fights and gets to the end. Looking at the income tab, wow, MorroW has pulled ahead significantly, even though DIMAGA has more bases. But with those mules and just a lot more harvesters right now for him as well. So where is the action going to occur? DIMAGA, has that lone infestor. At this point, there are a whole bunch. There are 5 tanks on the map, and he has his position seized out pretty well. Looks like he's going to be trying to. I assume this is going to be the key and pivotal expansion that's going to be tried to be taken out first. Both players now just comfortable building up, looking at the upgrades. 1-1 ground and nothing on ground tech. Anything in the air for... No, it looks like nothing in the air. Meanwhile, for DIMAGA, it looks like 1-1 as well. And yes, Ultralisks are out onto the field. Oh, a Doom Drop coming in from DIMAGA, and this is a very smart play when your opponent is kind of just bunkered down. Nothing in MorroW's base right now, and here they come. I mean, they're not going to be taking out too much, but might be able to take out a supply depot, 2 supply block, and the small contingent of forces now running back MorroW was possibly about to drop as well. Right now, just trying to take out anything that he can. That refinery, not that going to be that big of a deal. Looks like here comes that. So this drop not going to be to do too much. Nothing much in the base of MorroW to begin with, and more missile turrets going down to ensure that there are no other sneaky drops in this base. This armory almost falling down. But yes, unfortunately, good idea from DIMAGA, not going to be enough at this point. And looking at the army tab, DIMAGA still not completely maxed out at this point, and is getting Broodlords. This is where those Vikings are absolutely critical. The Broodlords are just going to do an extensive amount of damage to these ground forces, confuse the tanks, and force a lot of micro from MorroW during the engagement. He really doesn't have a response to the Broodlords. Does have some ghosts right now, so can snipe away the best that he can at them. Looking at the unit composition of both players, 3 ghosts out onto the field, 1 Thor, and now yes, he does have some Vikings in the air as well. I'm not sure if he detected the Broodlords, if he feels the presence of the Broodlords, but here come those Broodlords, and the sensor tower is showing that the Broodlords are coming in. All the units right now in the medevac, and here they come, going to be testing the grounds. Vikings are able to defend against them, which is great, but one Broodlord does go down, the missile turret goes down as well. And now I think we're about to see some major action going on right here. DIMAGA running in, throwing in that fungal growth, hiding his infestor behind all those lings and everything, and massive action going down on the bottom of the map. The Broodlords are going to be poking in right now, and those Vikings need to come down here as soon as possible. A lot of forces just massing up. DIMAGA hiding behind that grass, doesn't want his opponent to know that the rest of his army is there, although he does detect it because of the sensor towers, knows that a huge contingent of forces is there. And the Broodlords trying to take out everything that they can. Were able to take out that expansion. Right now, MorroW unfortunately has not transitioned. Sniping coming down from the cloaked ghost, doing the best they can to get rid of those Broodlords without dying themselves. But now the army moving in for DIMAGA. Massive battle coming in here, and looks like battle going to be going on both sides. Huge explosions, fungal growths going down. Same thing on the top. Right now, just a ton of major battle going on. I can't even call it right now what's going on. I don't know why that Ultralisk, I think there was a tank up there that I was trying to take out, but now the air army of DIMAGA trying to push in. Is it going to be enough at this point? No, everything going down for DIMAGA. Great push by him. Looking at the army tab, 126 over 102. Is MorroW going to push at this point, or does he want to try to recharge? Looks like he doesn't have enough units to really push ahead, but replenishing as quickly as possible. And nothing. Wow, that was a very interesting battle in the middle. Both players seem to come out decently even, but now these overlords have to retreat because they were spotted, and the Vikings are going to go pick them off because they can do that. Vikings can pick them off. MorroW going to be scanning and seeing what is at the north, although I do have to say that DIMAGA was able to take out that expansion and now has to rebuild this as well. Gold is mined out for him. He's almost mined out of his natural, so this is going to be the only mining source that he has, and it really has to protect it as well as possible. Looks like gold about to be mined out for DIMAGA. Looking at the income tab from both sides, DIMAGA now pulling ahead huge because there's nothing left for MorroW to mine. So MorroW really needs to get back into here. And at the army tab, while MorroW was ahead, DIMAGA has caught up at this point. His units are better upgraded. Everything, it looks like, fully upgraded for him. Only 1-2 for MorroW. So at this point, while MorroW was able to hold things off, he did lose that key expansion, and right now is forced to kind of turtle in while his opponent is building a whole bunch of Ultralisks and maxed out units. Going to be dropping the Ultralisk. Oh, that is awesome. Look at that. Only how does the Ultralisk even fit into an Overlord? I do not understand the physics at all. Do the Ultralisk kind of become really cute little transformer things? Or Overlord just coming in, wants to drop it off, doesn't want them to get blasted in the air, but the tanks are suited very well for DIMAGA, and still, even with that play from DIMAGA, which I thought was very excellent play, too many tanks out on the ground right now for MorroW. MorroW able to hold this off incredibly well, has transitioned to massive tanks hugging this tower, and I love the way that MorroW is spreading it out. Doesn't matter where DIMAGA decided to drop. the Ultralisks are just going to pop once they hit the ground because so much tank fire coming down at them right now. So looking at the army tab, it looks like DIMAGA is actually starting to catch up a bit right now. 6 Ultralisks on the ground. There are 9 tanks in the air. These Vikings running around trying to do something the best they can. Pick off any lone broodlords that are hanging about. Now just going to be running in here, seeing what they can do. Oh, finally going to be breaking down the back door. Wow, this is like almost 30 minutes into the game. They're going to be using their headbutting to take down the back door. And of course, MorroW doesn't want that. Going to try to kite with his M&M ball. And DIMAGA just retreats, rounds back onto the creep, and gets that speed again. So more Ultralisks coming out for DIMAGA. And this ground force is just going to be really difficult for a Zerg player to break at this point. Missile turrets and detection everywhere, so trying to get those changelings in. Really wants to get some scouting going on. Here comes one. Will he detect this one? No. Yes, DIMAGA is able to see now. Run this unit up into the ball, DIMAGA, and follow one of those units. So MorroW can't tell what's going to happen, and MorroW now slowly starting to push his tanks out, throwing down scan after scan. Really wants to see what's happening. Meanwhile, DIMAGA trying his best to break these rocks. This tank does see it, and will get taken out. Snipes going down from the Ghost. Massive Ultralisk army here. MorroW trying to pull them in. The tanks aren't sieged right now, so not a good thing for MorroW. Everything's just kind of falling down for him and forced to retreat at that point. The unsieged tanks just not going to be able to do enough damage and just fall so quickly to these Ultralisks. Oh, and down below, it looks like the ground army fell as well. So Ultralisk now, the shining star for DIMAGA, able to push in. Very unfortunate for MorroW that those siege tanks were in transition, I think, trying to move up to defend against them, and DIMAGA just caught them off guard. Now looking at the army tab, oh wow, MorroW is very, very, very far behind. Income wise, oh, he's just pretty much doesn't have much to produce anymore. DIMAGA doesn't really have to retreat at this point, but chooses to do so anyways. Queen right here, is it going to be restoring any health to this Ultralisk, or just going to let the Ultralisk heal on its own? Why bother helping your Zerg companion when you can just let them heal on their own? Well, how many Ultralisks are on there are 10 Ultralisks on the field, and more in production, so pretty much switching to a pure Ultralisk infestor army. 11 Lings right now, just there for kicks, and this Broodlord out as well. Gonna be falling very, very quickly. Banshees, Banshees, Banshees. I don't know if MorroW has any, does not have any Banshees in the air. I don't even think he has the proper structures to create Banshees right now. They would save the game at this point. Even like 1 or 2 might help hold DIMAGA off, but once this expansion falls, it's going to be game over for MorroW. He can't mine anymore. And look at those hits going down. SCV's repairing as best as they can. A few, oh no, and it goes down. I think that's going to be GG for MorroW at this point. Not going to be able to mine, and just out-armied 135 to 60 right now. Very unfortunate that those tanks weren't sieged when the Ultralisk army moved in, and just a ton of Ultralisks. This is a nightmare for Terran when you don't have siege tanks and Ultralisks are knocking at your front door. Look at those horns. Those are enormous teams, and a GG from MorroW. So very well, very good game played on both sides. DIMAGA just ever persistent and able to out-econ his opponent. This has been an exciting game, broadcast by JCS StarCraft, and I'm moving on to the next game, so I'm signing off.